Hey, what's going on, guys? So, you guys wanted to know how the OTK essentially works in the hopper variant. There's tons of ways to OTK in Inzektors. You can OTK out of 2 cards, but basically for the main play that I would do, all you needed was Dragonfly in your hand as well as 1 sword, and you could have Hornet in the graveyard or in your hand. So I mean, it is kind of a 3-card combo, but you just need to have those 2 cards in your hand. So basically, how it works is you'll have Hornet in the grave or hand, regardless of what happens. You have Dragonfly and Sword. So you summon your Dragonfly, and then you equip the Sword to it. Then you equip Hornet to it, either by hand or by graveyard. And then what you do is you use Hornet's effect to pop your own sword. So when these get destroyed, you get 2 cards with Dragonfly. And those 2 cards are going to be double Centipede. So you get out 2 Centipedes, and let's move the graveyard over there. And so, once you have those guys out, what you want to do with 1 Centipede is activate its effect to equip the Hornet. And then you can go ahead and pop 1 card on the field. So you'll pop whatever your opponent's back row monster, doesn't really matter. You do have to pop 1 of their cards though. Then you'll activate Centipede's effect, and you will add another card to your hand, which will be Gigamantis. So you'll add Gigamantis to your hand, and then you will overlay the Dragonfly and the Centipede that already use the effect, and you will make a number 17. Usually you'll make 17 depending on what you want to go for, but generally it's 17 to just get the extra damage in. So then you detach the Dragonfly, and so now Leviathan gets a boost of attack, and now you haven't used this Centipede's effect. So in your hand you'll have Gigamantis, and in your graveyard you'll have the Hornet still. So what you do with that Centipede right here is you're going to equip Hornet and equip Gigamantis. And so what you do is, once again, you're going to be destroying your own cards. So you have Hornet destroy the Gigamantis that's equipped to Centipede. So these will go to the graveyard. And Inzektors are unfair and they never really miss timing. So Centipede's effect, you can then special summon Dragonfly again. It was the one that was detached from the number 17. And then you get 2 Centipede's effect. And so now you can go search out 2 swords. Or generally I like to go Sword and Dragonfly, but it really depends on it. So depending on what you're trying to do, maybe there's a big monster in the field, but you should be able to pop that anyways. So yeah, you'll go for 2 swords or 1 sword plus 1 Dragonfly, and also depending on what your opponent's life points are at. But basically this is what you do. And then you'll activate Dragonfly's effect, and you'll equip Hornet to it, and then you can equip a sword. And then once again you can use Dragonfly's effect, and you can pop the Hornet and the sword that's equipped to it, and as you guys can see, we're basically just looping stuff right now, which is really unfair. And then generally I like to get out 2 Hopper because it allows you to go into Utopia in the off chance that Gores is dropped. But again, this sword right here that we added to our hand, it could be a Dragonfly. Generally, if you're not finishing them off, you basically want to go for that. But depending on your matchup, if you're playing against Dino Rabbit, you could want to add this, but you already have a strong monster on the field, which is going to be number 17, which they usually don't have answers to anyways. But, yeah, so, I mean, in your hand you'll either have a Zecticaliber or a Dragonfly that you searched out with the Centipede. And so your field will look like this, and basically you can equip Sword to whatever you want. I mean, you can be Dragonfly just so if it is Gores, it would be kind of weaker. But here I'll bust up my calculator, so I hope you guys can see this. Okay, so we have 25 with the number 17 because it did get the boost because we detached Dragonfly. Then we have the additional 1600 from the Centipede, and then we're at 41. And then we have a Dragonfly here, equipped with a sword, which will be an additional 1800. And then we have the 2 Hoppers, which are at 17 each, which is 34 total. So we'll add an additional 3400. And that will be 9,300. Generally, you don't need to equip the sword, but for whatever reason, if they've increased their life points, I don't know how, but yeah, so that's basically the Inzektor OTK that I was using. There's tons of ways to do it, and you can have a lot of different variety. I mean, you can have Monster Reborn, Dragonfly in the Grave. There's tons of ways to OTK in this deck, and that's just one of them. But generally, again, the thing is you don't need to add the sword. You want to add 1 sword and 1 Dragonfly with that second Centipede's effect. So, yeah, so just in case though, I mean, this will get you the most damage possible. It is over 9,000 though. But anyways, yeah, so this is basically how the OTK works, and like the way I was playing it, really, because I thought like there were so many ways to OTK, and if anything happened, you could just like lance that one dragonfly, and then you could basically still win because, you know, the dragonfly's attack gets reset anyways because you do XYZ with it. And yeah, so this is basically the OTK. And if anything happens, like I got out this guy before, just because there was a face down and like I couldn't finish off the game. Had that card been something I could not run over, like I don't know what it would be, but generally you just pop everything anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, you still have these two hoppers effects, so you can just realistically pop two, or equip Giga Mantis. Like the deck, obviously you can see is just really good. Generally, if they do Gorge you though, I mean you could go Hornet, pop two, use these two, and make a Zen mains, and that was pretty common. But in the off chance, I'm not sure what deck you're playing against, but for whatever reason, if you need to, you can double hopper into Utopia, block all the attacks, and then in your hand you'd either have, I would say most likely you'll have Dragonfly, but if you have the sword, I guess that's fine too, but then you can just pop, because you can protect your field, and then just pop two, and then you'll basically win from there. But yeah, I hope this helped you out if you were thinking about playing Inzektors. I think the deck is really good. And the Inzektors, they just don't miss timing on anything, and that's essentially what makes them so much better. And they can just loop around. I mean, they can just OTK it with two cards, basically. Even if you get, like, looped by windups, you can just, like, oh, it's cool, I'll just OTK anyways. But, yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Here's your Nice White Dragon, signing out.